Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fisherman, Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What a beautiful day we are seeing here in South Florida. My gosh, what a nice change it was this morning. Walked out with a dog. It was about a little after 7 o'clock, and normally when we walk out at that time in the morning, you can feel the humidity. It's like walking into a sauna. This morning was crisp. The air was, oh my gosh, it was just unbelievable. The skies were clear. Very little wind, which I was expecting quite a bit of wind today. I don't know if the weatherman had misled me or maybe I misunderstood, but very calm, very, very beautiful start to, looks like it's going to be a gorgeous day here in South Florida. So welcome to the Fishing in Florida Show. I am your host, Riscala. This morning I have Carolyn Stash. Carolyn is with Atlas Trax. If you want to protect what you love to the max, who are you going to call? Carolyn at Atlas Trax. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Riscala, and to all our listeners on this beautiful South Florida sunny Sunday.
Now, I know you're out near the water. What's it look like?
Well, I'll tell you, the wind was supposed to be a little bit more today than it is, so the wind's about 15 knots. The seas are supposed to be coming down today. For our listeners, last week in South Florida, they were as high as 9 to 11 feet.
Holy smokes.
Right off the beach.
Wow.
So we had planned and tried to get out to go fishing, and it was just too dangerous. But what we did yesterday, Riscala, was a lot of fun. We went over to the the Fort Lauderdale Air Show, which came back to town this year.
Awesome. So how did that go?
It was pretty amazing. I'll tell you, it wasn't very busy, which was great. They had all of the demonstration teams of the fighter jets and a lot of the old P-51s, the Mustangs, which I think are amazing aircraft. And two amazing things they did. They had 4 planes fly that were going through the year. So they had the P-51 Mustangs, the slowest flying in front of a triangle formation flanked by F-15 and 22 fighter jets. And they let the little plane fly in front of them. It was amazing.
That is awesome and brings back memories. When I was in the Air Force, my last duty station was Panama City, Florida, Tyndall Air Base. And every 2 years, I think it was every 2 years, we had a thing called William Tell, if my memory serves me correctly. And what William Tell was, Air Force recruits from all around, including other countries, like Saudi Arabia, the UK, Canada. They would gather at our base, and they would have these, they called them games. It was really like a practice. And so they'd go up and chase each other. And some of the maneuvers and some of the things, oh my gosh, it was amazing, really amazing. That was one thing that I really found so just outrageous with being there, stationed there, that these guys would fly off the coast out into the Gulf and do their thing and come back. But a lot of times on the way back in, they'd be doing maneuvers too, and you could see them. You could easily see what they were doing. It was pretty awesome stuff. So anyway, we've got to go ahead.
I was going to say there was 2 other quick notices. So yesterday it was still so rough out there that not one pleasure boat was out there offshore. Normally you anchor out there. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of boats. But the only boat out there was Coast Guard, so you could tell how rough it was. And the other thing I thought was really cool was you are very good at promoting women-owned businesses and women in fishing and just women that are out there doing their thing. And can I tell you that the last demonstration by the F-35 Strike Fighter was done by the first time for a woman pilot, which I think is pretty cool.
Wow. Well, congratulations to her. So, quick rundown. I'm looking at the Wonder Map at the radar for Florida. There's not a whole lot going on in our area. Very little bit going on down around Miami, and then a very even smaller amount going on down in the Keys. So it looks like it's going to be a great day today. Now, according to the National Weather Service, small craft should exercise caution today because we have seas in some areas as high as 5 to 8 feet. In other areas, seas are 2 to 4 feet, depending upon where you are. Winds are going to be around 15 to 20 knots. Tonight, the winds are going to die down a little bit, and hopefully the seas with that will come down a little bit. They're expecting seas to be 2 to 4, possibly 6 foot swells. So not a particularly good day to go out in the ocean, but we got a lot of backwaters, we got a lot of intercoastal, so you can go in there and go out in one of the lakes. My gosh, we got 10,000 lakes around here. Beach conditions today, they are still asking for people to be aware that the conditions on the beach, the rip current conditions are moderate to high. Remember, when that water comes in, it's got to go back out somewhere. You don't want to be in that where it's going back out. And some of our beaches have rocks on the bottom, so just be aware of that. But again, it looks like it's going to be a gorgeous day. They're expecting winds to, right now, they're saying that winds are 15 to 20 miles an hour and gusting. Wow. I wonder if that's correct. It doesn't, because I'm way out west. I'm probably 25 miles, 20 miles from the ocean. Absolutely calm out here. The tides today. Let's see, what are we looking at the tides? Well, we already had a high tide this morning at 1:44 a.m. We're going to have a low tide. Hey, just at the beginning of the show, 7:54, we had a low tide. We're working back for the high. It's going to be at 2:15 this afternoon, and the final low for today will be 8:35 tonight. So it's going to be a gorgeous day. Get out there, enjoy it. I just can't get over the nice, crisp, cool air. Have you been outside this morning?
Yeah, I let our little dog out. I don't get lucky to do a nice walk like you did, but it was a total different kind of feel.
Oh my gosh!
I'm over by the coast. Usually, you can you can taste the salt water when you're walking. It is still a little bit windy. I can see the gusting to 15, 20. Definitely happening in some of these higher palm trees. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to occur. But it was a nice weather change. I was out in the middle of the night last night. It was a real nice change.
Did you get to do any fishing this last week?
Riscala, I had a whole bunch of people planning on coming over from the West Coast, and when we looked at these seas all week, we just decided it was not a safe thing to do. They were going to be anywhere from 5 to 9 to 11, and I think that was part of that storm that was down off of Guatemala down there, that Category 4 storm, but it was a little bit too dangerous to think about going out like that.
Forgive me, I don't remember. Are you near the Intercoastal? Are you somewhere near the Intercoastal?
I'm very lucky. I'm 4 houses in from the Intercoastal, and I'm sandwiched directly between the Boca Inlet and the Hillsborough Inlet.
Oh my goodness!
So depending on what we want to do, or if we need bait, we go one way or the other, to get out. So I'm pretty lucky. I can actually see the palm trees on the beach area right now when I'm speaking with you.
You lucky girl, you. Wow. All right. Well, I think we've got our I can't even talk this morning. I think we have our guy from, oh my gosh, I better go back to sleep. I think the gentleman from Florida Fisherman Magazine is on with us. Let me find out. Is that you, Robert?
It is. Good morning.
Hey, Robert. I didn't know Riscala had a guy. He's got a guy.
Hey, you never know about these things,
So how you doing, Robert?
I'm doing great. Offshore fishing has been completely ridiculous because of the weather, but the inshore fishing has been awesome. Snook and redfish and speckled trout and people pulling in sheep's head everywhere. And offshore has just been a battle.
Yeah,
depending on where you live, I guess. But
we still have
East Coast. It didn't work out real well. So
we still have small craft advisories. So you're right on the money. It's it'll be a little more than.
Mark Hightower sent me a picture of a 41-inch snook he caught by the Boynton Inlet.
Holy smokes! Wow.
Yes, on 12-pound test, that'll give you.
Oh my gosh! I'm sorry. Where did he catch it at? Where?
Near the Boynton Inlet, right inside the Boynton Inlet.
That's got that particular inlet. I don't know if others are like this, but this is a relatively narrow inlet, and because it's narrow, when the tides are changing, the water runs through that place like, oh my gosh, it's amazing how much water is running through that little narrow inlet. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. I've been in
dangerous inlet. Yes, it is.
I've been in and out of it many times. On my jet ski, it's no problem. But in a boat, I watched a lot of boats almost get in a lot of trouble in that inlet because it's not straight. It's crooked. You can imagine with all that water rushing through there, it's not a straight shot through. It's a turn at the end. And if you don't watch yourself, my gosh. So that's where he caught it, huh? Did he tell you what he was using for bait?
There's actually a picture of it. I'll send it to you. It's
good.
Just a lure. Artificial.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been fishing there a couple of times, but it hasn't been too enjoyable for me because when the tide starts to move, my gosh, that water moves through there so fast. I don't know how anybody can keep anything on the bottom without putting a 2 pound weight on.
I remember coming in there a coming in there a few times, even if it's flat calm from the ocean and you're in a 30-foot boat and you catch that tide at the wrong time, you just think you came in right through a deluge. It's a real scary inlet to even think about fishing in.
Yeah, it's like a washing machine. It really is.
Yeah, it reminds me of the rapids, like what you see up north and in the mountains when the water's coming down. It reminds me of that. That's how fast it comes through there. Wow, so I think that there's no tournaments going on, are there?
No, there will be. Hopefully in December, the sailfish tournaments will get going, but hopefully the weather improves by then. It's supposed to improve next week. So.
Well, according to this report here, the wind is supposed to let down a little bit. Now, you're a little north of me. Are you seeing wind where you are?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on my back porch, and there is already a breeze. The leaves are moving. So.
Yep. Well, they're saying 15 to 20 mile-an-hour gusts, 15 mile-an-hour constant or near constant. And as the day goes on, it's going to get rough. But as it gets towards the end of the day, it's supposed to slack up a little bit. So hopefully that's the case. And those of you who want to go out.
The problem is it's a northeast wind, too. That's not good. So.
Yeah. Well, how do you think that affects the fishing?
What, the wind?
Yeah. From the northeast.
Inshore fishing, I can tell you, because I've been doing a lot of inshore fishing because I can't go offshore fishing. Inshore fishing, if you're inshore fishing and you're looking for bait, go to the opposite. Just follow the wind. Go to that shore, whichever way it's blowing, and you will find all the bait fish and probably all the fish that are trying to eat them. So that's the one thing I can tell you about high winds and inland fishing. So it pushes everything across. The bait fish go with the wind, so just follow the bait fish. So.
And that's a really good tip to give to the folks that are just going to go find a nice little lake or a nice little side of the a little canal. That's a real good tip, especially if they're beginners. I like that.
Have you been doing your snook ritual?
Absolutely. My neighbor and I just pound that place every night, just about. So.
Are you keeping some of these?
It's a little spot because it's like a little alcove. It's like a dead end street, only it's a canal, and it comes directly off the Indian River. So it feeds right into a big circle, and they school the mullet and whatever they're chasing. They school them up in there, and they feast in there at night.
Wow.
You got to get it at high tide, though. If you don't, that's why sometimes we're there at 2:00 in the morning because you got to get it at high tide.
And I'm assuming you're going via golf cart.
We are indeed.
Private area.
We travel via golf cart because we are silent. We are stealth hunters.
We don't want anybody to know that we're coming, especially the fish.
I'll tell you, the coolest thing is when I went up to New York for that last trip, we went down to the beach. It was too rough to fish, but there were folks that had fishing rod holders mounted to their trucks. They were surf casting, and they meant business. So I know exactly. If you've got that rod holder on your golf cart, you're serious, and you're out at 2 a.m. You're snook fishing.
Yeah.
Well, we got plenty of canals.
It carries the cooler and everything else we need. So.
We got plenty of canals. We got plenty of intercoastals. We got lots of lakes. So if you can't go out in the ocean, there's plenty of alternatives.
That's the great thing about Florida. The diversity of fishing here is second to none. Inland, from peacock bass to snooks to redfish to trout to sheep's head. There's all sorts of great stuff you can catch, and there's just no limit.
I like
now
what you.
A place where you can catch barramundi. So.
See, I like it because it can be a family thing, and one of the things you used to say, I haven't heard you say it in a while, was put down the X boxes and pick up the tackle boxes.
Well, that's actually one of our programs. It's tackle boxes, not X boxes, and we did not get to run that program this summer due to COVID, but hopefully next summer we will.
What is the name of it again, Robert?
It's tackle boxes, not X boxes.
Tackle boxes, not X boxes. Yeah.
There's a Facebook page for it. I don't think it's been updated in a while because we didn't do anything this summer. But.
And then, I lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you about something else. It's completely gone. Lord have mercy, help me. I guess I need some more coffee. I'll let Carolyn say something.
Hey, that's
I'm
okay.
drinking coffee as we speak.
You had mentioned tournaments earlier. There's one more tournament that I know of that's a rescheduled one that's called Fishing for a Cure. That's out of Pompano Beach in the Sands. Anyone can still get on board and help and fish, or just donate some time. And every 100% of the proceeds goes to the American Cancer Society. So that's the last one I know of. And then, as Robert said, the sailfish tournament should be kicking in pretty soon. But if we have any South Florida listeners and they're looking for something fun to do again today, that air show goes on from 11:30 to 3:30.
Cool.
I know it's not fishing, but it still gets some good fresh salt air in your lungs and really makes you appreciate those that are out there protecting the country. There's some pretty powerful aircraft.
For me, being around the ocean is just being around the ocean is fun. I mean, it's more fun when you get to fish, but just being around the ocean is good.
And depending on what area you're in, if you're near Jonathan Dickinson State Park, about half of the bike trails are open. The other half are still flooded. But
wow.
You can get out there on your bike and...
They're still messing with the water out there, huh? I figured it would have gone down by now.
Well, have you seen that neighborhood in Pope Sound that floods out and they're in the news all the time?
Yeah.
That's directly behind the park.
Wow.
And it overflows into the park.
Wow.
So... And the park is all hills, so any place there's a low spot, the water stays for quite some time. So,
I didn't think about that. Well, I remember that park from years back. It's a gorgeous park. There are all kinds of things you can do there. I mean, if you want to spend a day at the park, that's a place. I think one of the nicest places to go. I've got a park around the corner from me. It's not quite as nice as that, but it's a pretty big park, Okehele Park. We have that about 3 or 4 miles from where I live. And that's another nice park, but it's not quite as nice as Jonathan Dickinson. I like the idea of being near the ocean. This one's way inland. It's got a couple of big lakes, and they even have they opened up some kind of water park a year or so ago, which I was amazed that they did that because they were very careful about it. They didn't want boats in there with motors on them and stuff like that. So what they did to get around that was they devised these things where I don't even know what would you call it? It's kind of like a ski lift, but it works a lot faster, and you're not up there. It's got a rope that comes down. You hold on to the rope and it pull you around on whatever it is, on a wakeboard or a ski or whatever that is. So they got away from having a boat pull you, and this crazy contraption pulls you around. It's pretty neat, really.
You know where that is? Quiet Waters Park, Riscala.
Is that what it's called?
Here in Deerfield. Yep,
oh.
Quiet Waters Park. Yeah, they have the tow rope ski area, which is pretty cool. Sometimes they have competitions in there for jumping wake and doing tricks. So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's still there, and that's a great park because you can actually camp there, surprisingly. You can rent a platform. You can fish over there. They have bike trails, I believe, mountain bike trails, cooking areas. But that's pretty cool that they have that technology that you can still ski without a boat.
Well, that's what they have here at Okehele Park. I didn't realize that's what was down there at Quiet Waters. But that's what they have here, where they have this tow thing that you can get on, and whether you want a wakeboard, a surfboard, a ski, whatever it is, you just hang on the rope, and this thing pulls you around. The kick I got out of it was that for the longest time, they said, we're not having any boats in here. If you want a boat, it has to be a rowboat or a pedal boat or something. You can't have any motorized vehicles in here. And when they were building this thing, a couple of years ago, I guess, I'm thinking to myself, they're going to make... special provisions so they can put boats in here, because they were talking about skiing and all these other things. And as they were building it, I saw them putting these things up, these big poles and these wires. And I said, what the heck is all of that? And then as they opened up the park, I could see what it was. I said, they really stuck to their word. They're not going to allow motorized vehicles in there, and that's how they got around it with these tow things that you were talking about. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat stuff. So that's one thing you can do today. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to be outside in Florida, there are so many parks and state parks and just so much to do. I was talking to my son. He and his buddies have been going over to Jenny Springs up on the West Coast, where the springs flow out into the Gulf. And there's some beautiful, beautiful parks here. So get out there.
We are the state of water. If you don't like water, you're in the wrong place, because we're like a sponge. We got water everywhere around here. Well, it's that magic moment. We're going to come up on a break here, but before we do, Robert, didn't get to talk much about Florida Fisherman Magazine. Is the new edition out now?
No, I'm working on the holiday issue starting next week. It will be out December 5th. So if anybody's got anything to send it to pages@flfishmag.com. We are collecting fishing pictures with Christmas attire. So if anybody's got any of those, Carolyn,
Okay.
send them to me at pages@flfishmag.com. I've got pictures coming in with Santa hats, and I've got elf hats, and I've got all sorts of great stuff. So just anything that looks like a holiday and a fish in it, send me the picture.
Hot dog. Well, Robert, thank
I'll
you.
have to see if I can get the girls in some Santa suits.
Appreciate your time, Robert. Thank you so much for taking time to call in this morning. I wish you an awesome day, my friend. I'm going to let Carolyn say goodbye to you, and we're going to go to a break.
Have fun out there, Robert, and tight lines on those snook.
You have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Riscala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers. But that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped, even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion. Air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road, you will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclubb.com. That's www.susanclubb.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Clubb. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
Want to give your pet the celebrity treatment? Have you heard of Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care in Royal Palm Beach? They're located just off State Road 7 and have been servicing the area for 14 years. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care is the home of the Blueberry Facial, also specializing in tartar removal with 8 years of assisting in dental procedures. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care? They're more than just about dogs. They are the only experienced cat groomer in the area. They also cater to all breeds and sizes and open 6 days a week. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care, located just north of the Super Walmart in Royal Palm Beach. You can find them at 250 Business Parkway. They specialize in shampoos with no extra charge. Flea and tick dips also available. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. You can give them a call at 561-793-9992. They also provide gift certificates for those looking for that special present. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. 561-793-9992. They're located in Royal Palm Beach. That number, 561-793-9992. Call for your appointment today.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We have ignition. Strap in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. I just caught me a grouper. So I'm fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah, fishing and blowing on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, welcome back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. I am your host, Riscala. This morning I have Carolyn with Atlas Trax with me. If you want to protect what you love to the max, you got to talk to my friend Carolyn over there at Atlas Trax. Welcome back, Miss Carolyn. Nice to have you with me, by the way.
Well, thank you, Thank you so much, Riscala. And, you know, for those listeners like myself that forgot, this coming week is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So I just had a friend, Tornado Tom, give me a call and say that he was headed this way to fish with us. So we'll be out probably Wednesday and Thursday this week.
Tornado Tom, that sounds like a good time. A lot of wind involved there, it sounds like.
Well, Tornado Tom is about 350 pounds. He comes in for one night and totally destroys the house. There could be food on the ceiling. There are the things that I've never seen destroyed. Last time he was here, he sat on a big, beautiful teak chair and it crashed to the ground. Yeah, so he's going to come and grace us. And he's the kind of guy, he rides a truck, he does a trucking for a living, and he'll cook his food on the engine when he's driving. So that's what I got.
Wow. All right, well, I'm going to welcome our next guest. That is Joe, and he's with Blue Seas Fresh Fish. I apologize, Joe. I sent you a text, but somehow it came back to me, so I'm glad that you did that this morning. Good morning, my friend. Thank you for taking time to share with us this morning.
Hi, Risco. Good morning, Carolyn. How are you today?
Hey, welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you for having me.
So we've had a kind of a windy time here recently. Have you been able to get out there at all?
You know, we got out a couple days last weekend. We had like a 3 or 4 day stretch where it was decent. It wasn't blowing 25 to 40, so we were able to get out. But last weekend was a pretty incredible weekend in the commercial sword fishing business. There was it's probably 400, maybe 400 swordfish caught here locally.
Wow! Wow!
Several of the commercial sword fishing boats here in a 3-day window.
Wow!
So there. Not a lot of big fish. Not many big fish at all. Actually, most of them were in the 40 to 60 pound range. But yeah, that was well, you know, everybody had been so landlocked for. I mean, it seemed like months. It seemed like months that we were dealing with this wind. It's really hard to go out in the middle of the Gulf Stream and stay out there for 10 hours and float around when you're talking about over 25 mile an hour winds. Really, really difficult to do it.
You know the friends that you bring with you to chum the water? I would be one of them. I would be chumming water.
Yeah.
On
my boat, it wouldn't take long at all because I've got a boat it's sort of like a charter fishing boat, but it's converted into a commercial sword fishing boat. And it's got a flat bottom. It's a 34 Crusader, and it's an inboard diesel. So it's kind of a heavy boat, about 20 tons. And it rocks, like when it's 2 foot, I mean, it rocks like crazy when it's just sitting there. When you're motoring, you're underway, and you're moving, it's fine. But when you're just sitting there floating, oh my God, it's miserable.
Wow. Miserable. So I have to ask this question because you said 300, I think is what you said, right? Was the number 300 swordfish?
I don't even know the exact number, but it was somewhere between 300 and 400.
Holy smokes. How do you think that's going to affect the population? Is there that many of them out there?
Yeah, there really are. Back in the 80s and 90s, they did a lot of long lining, and they completely depleted and decimated the swordfish stock here.
Mm-hmm.
And they implemented some laws, and they changed the rules, and the stock came back very, very fast. So it was nice to see from not being able to go out there and catch a fish at night. In 2002, 2003, I was out there just recreationally fishing at night, and we would catch 4 or 5 fish at night.
Wow.
So, you know, from early 90s to not being able to catch one because they pretty much caught them all, to seeing just a few years later the stock come back pretty well. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty sustainable fishery. I think we've got it under control here. There's not going to be a lot of weekends like that, but that was one of them because no one was able to get out. So literally everybody went out. There must, who knows how many boats were actually out fishing every night for those 3 nights.
To me, it just seemed like a large number. I mean, gosh.
Yeah, me too. I thought
So Joe,
I was actually happy to see it.
Yeah, so Joe, if you're fishing commercially, do you actually have to count and report your fish? Like, how do you said commercially
Absolutely.
and you
Absolutely,
do? Okay,
yes,
so you're turning in a ticket somewhere and said, all right, we got 12.
Every
or whatever
trip,
the number.
every trip, how many you caught, where you fished, what the water temperature was, what kind of bait you used, what size your hooks were. Every single trip, a federal report is sent back to the government to document what you caught. And then it's registered and it stays on your file. So, you can go look me up and you can see how many swordfish I've caught. As long as you know my permit number and whatnot, you can look me up and you can see what I'm doing. It's pretty much public information.
And why do they need all that information?
Yeah,
like your gear and what you're catching it on.
Yeah.
For stock assessments, there's certain weights that certain areas are allowed to catch per year. So there's quotas that have to be met. So it's important that they know all the fish that are caught so that we can reach our quota and we don't maybe lose it to another country or another area.
Another
So
country?
it's very managed. It's a very managed fishery. The federal fisheries is extremely managed. Every fish that's caught federally is done the same way.
Wait.
Wow.
Go ahead, Carolyn.
I was going to say, I had no idea that something like that occurred, and it's actually a really good thing. And you're thinking cross-species also for commercial?
Well, what's that?
Cross-species also, or just the swordfish have to be recorded?
No, all of them. Any fish that you have a federal fishing permit to catch that you sell commercially is reported pretty much the same way.
Wow. And for your fish,
it's pretty time consuming. It's a time consuming part of the job because I don't just sit down for a minute and fill out the paper. It's pretty time consuming. It's a whole sheet, so it maybe takes me like 10 minutes to get it done right and accurately. And we got to keep good notes, and you got to send the reports in right after you fish. So that's a lot of paperwork. That's part of the game.
Wow.
So what do you now with your fish delivery business? What do you find is the most popular fish that you're getting out to people's homes?
Man, it's kind of been slow lately. I got to say, I don't know if the economy's taken a turn. Maybe people have spent all their money in the last 8 months on boats and everything else, and they've got nothing left. But it's been a little slow. But I will say, one of our really cool fish that we get salmon from Scotland once a week.
Wow.
And we get it in on Tuesday. It was killed on Sunday night. We get it in on Tuesday. And then it's filleted, vacuum sealed, and delivered on Wednesday. So you're pretty much getting salmon on Wednesday that was swimming in the ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean, on Sunday. Pretty
That's
cool
awesome.
In Florida.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of things that caught my ear. A couple of things that you said. First off, I think I know what this is, but I want to ask anyway. A long line. What is a long line?
And it's where you put thousands of hooks on one line.
Holy
and they're all
smokes.
attached to one main spool, and it takes, 50 miles of ocean, and you've got thousands and thousands of hooks out with a bait on them.
Oh my gosh! All right, that's what I thought, but I didn't realize it was that many.
It's a great way to rape and pillage the ocean.
Yeah, I don't like that idea at all. I didn't realize it was thousands of hooks. And how do you do it now?
We have my permit allows me to take out 32 baits. I can fish 32 buoys. So each buoy is individual and it's on its own. So we place the buoys with a squid or another type of bait on the end of the hook. The buoy has a light on the top of it with a weight that counterbalances it, so the light sticks up. And you throw it out there and you put them in a straight line over about 4 or 5 miles of ocean, and you've got 32 possibilities of catching a fish. And you keep going up and down the line all night long, and you check them, and you put them back out, and you rebait them. And if one gets way offline, there's probably a fish on there. So you hunt them down, and we pull them in by hand. Put a pair of good gloves
you were
on,
the
and
one who
we fight them by.
You were the one. I didn't remember who it was. You're the guy who brings them in by. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. I mean, I can't believe that.
It's pretty backbreaking when they're big.
Lord
it definitely is, and we catch a lot of sharks too. So a lot of times you don't know it's a shark until you actually see it. And anything that feels big, you fight it like a swordfish until you can confirm it's not. But we do catch a lot of sharks, and they are the most backbreaking because at the end of the day, you don't get anything.
You don't get to keep it. It's
a
workout.
The shark, you cut the line, and tie another hook on, and move on.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Muscala, this is the second hand liner. Jim Ott is also the hand liner for those swordfish. And he told us how tired it is. Joe, you guys can fight those things for hours by hand and glove.
I can't imagine.
Sometimes. I tell you what, you fight them a lot quicker by hand than you do by rod and reel.
Really? Now that's
way
a surprise.
Easier. Way easier to fight a swordfish by hand than it is on a rod and reel, unless it's an electric rod and reel, unless it's an electric reel. But just a conventional reel, comparing that to hand lining a swordfish, there's night and day, not even close.
Well, I that's surprising to me because in my mind, in fighting a fish, like anybody who knows anything about when you catch a fish, you bring it up and then you bring the rod down to give it that slack as you wind up that slack when you come down. How do you make up for that by hand?
Well, you think about it, you have a reel that's got a gear in it that's kind of helping you assist, but that gear is only so strong. So when you get these fish that are really big, your hands can feel a little bit better and can pull a little bit harder than you can with a rod and a reel.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
So you can tire the fish out. You can whoop the fish quicker with your hands than you can on a rod and a reel. But you also, the more pressure you put on, the more chances you have of straightening a hook or breaking the line.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one of those things you want to do.
What strength is the line that you're using?
We fish 300-pound test.
Holy smokes!
Yeah. A lot of guys, there's a lot of different ways to swordfish commercially. Some guys use tuna braid, and they put a long, maybe 200 feet of tuna braid on, and then maybe a 50-foot or 100-foot leader of 300 or 400-pound test. The tuna braid's a lot easier to hand. You can grab onto it and pull on it. It doesn't slip as easy as monofilament does. So we fish just straight monofilament, and we let that stretch in the line kind of help us, where the tuna braid doesn't even stretch at all. And they use some pretty special sticky gloves, so I don't really have a problem with the line slipping if you got the right gloves on. Any job you're going to do, if you've got the right equipment to do it, makes it a lot easier.
I agree, 100%.
No matter what the job is.
Yeah. Carolyn?
Yeah.
I was going to ask Joe, are you still also doing the live bait business for all the tournaments that are going to be starting up?
Man, I am, but we had some heartache about a month and a half ago. The bait fishing boat was tied up to the sword fishing boat in the backyard of my house, and we had a giant storm come through one night, and the contender took in water on the side and went down and was still attached to the big boat and sunk.
Oh no.
So today is the last day of the rewiring job. Got to put a new motor on it, got the gas tanks cleaned out, and now I'm 1 day away from having it finally rewired. So that boat hasn't been fishing in about a month and a half.
Wow. My goodness.
But she'll be back in business maybe tonight if I can get it done.
So let me ask you.
There's a window tonight to go fishing. There's a really nice window. The wind calms down this afternoon, and
that's what
it does it for about 14 hours, and then it picks back up tomorrow night.
Wow. Yeah, that's what the report. It was supposed to start calming down. You mentioned about the delivery. Are you delivering to commercially to other stores, or are you delivering home? What is that?
No, it's totally retail. We just deliver straight to the homeowner. So we process it where fish get processed here locally, and instead of it going to the supermarket where it sits for a couple of days before you get it, we take it straight to your house.
And what area?
Fresher.
What area do you serve?
All of Broward County. We started off doing it, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach, all three, and it was a little overwhelming. So we kind of toned it back to just Broward County. We're going to get our roots stuck here pretty good before we expand back out to the other areas. Well, it's fresh fish, so the farther we got to travel to deliver it, the longer it takes.
More difficult.
More cost. And we're going to try and keep it close to home here in Broward County for the next few months and try and see if we can get a little stronghold here and then
if somebody's out of your delivery area, can they come purchase from you directly?
No, we don't have a retail store set up right now. Again, all the fish is processed in a commercial warehouse, and it's just not set up for retail.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but you know what? If there was someone that really wanted something that I had and it was a little out of our coverage area, we'd probably just find a way to make it happen.
Oh, that's good. I'm interested
The option's still available. The option's still available for delivery on our website for Dade and Palm Beach County.
Oh.
So Broward County delivers for $5, and Dade and Palm Beach are $10.
Oh.
And that option's still available. So, if people find us from Dade or Palm Beach and order, we're not going to tell them no. We still do it, but we're just not promoting and marketing towards those areas right now.
Well, go ahead, Carolyn. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that's another benefit of a small local-owned business. That one or two-zy trip down to Miami, just like I would do, throwing a tracker in an Uber. That's the difference of going to the grocery store or getting really fresh fish, they'll do it.
Sure. And we sell everything in 2-pound portions, so it's normally a good amount to feed a family of 4. Smaller households, it's certainly enough to have a meal and put some away for the next night or the next day, or it's 2 days later. Our fish is so fresh that you can literally keep it. Once I deliver it to you, it's vacuum sealed. You can keep it for 4 or 5 days in the vacuum seal and open it up, and it still be fresh as could be.
Wow.
It's hard to do that with fish you get from the store. You got to eat it right away within a day or two, or it's just not. It's going to go bad.
It deteriorates pretty quickly. Pretty quickly.
Yeah. Very quickly.
Wow. Well, I apologize about I don't know what happened, why the text came back.
It wasn't your fault. I told you my phone's been acting up. I'm getting text messages at 3 o'clock in the morning that people send at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm thinking to myself, why are these people awake at 3 o'clock in the morning? They're not. My phone's, I don't know. Maybe I need a new phone. I only had it for maybe 6 months, but they don't last very long nowadays, it seems.
Have you turned your phone off and turned it back on?
I'm going to do that right after we get off the phone.
Because I had that problem, and they told me turn your phone, because I never turn my phone off. So they said turn your phone off, turn it back, and it reduced it. It still happens, but it reduced it quite a bit. Because I'd get
when we go out way out in the ocean, the phone signal, we don't get it, and if something happens, and when we come in, I always have to turn my phone back on and off when I come back in from going way offshore. Something I don't know why it just messes up. It stops working properly.
Wow. Well, you got to talk to Carolyn about a Carolyn, a hotspot?
Yeah, we've got to get you a hotspot so you can use your phone offshore and call the family. It turns your regular phone into a satellite phone. So I got to get with you on that, Joe.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
You got it. I'll get that to you after the show.
All right. Cool. Thank you, Joe. Greatly appreciate it. And if people want more information, there goes my mic again. If people want more information, I give out your website. I've got it, but I want to make sure it's correct.
BlueSeasFreshFish.com.
That's what I got. All right, my friend.
Get you there. Everything's easy. Order online. We get a confirmation to you right after you order. Let you know the delivery schedule, and we'll be in touch with any new customers right off the bat to let them know how we operate.
And remember, people, you're helping support a small business. Right now, more than ever, small businesses need our help. More than ever before, more than any time that I can remember in my entire life, small businesses right now are the ones who are hurting the most out there with regard to businesses being hurt by this stuff that's going on. So remember, whenever you have an opportunity, if you're going to go buy from a large corporation or you're going to go buy from a small business, the advantages are in your favor, in all of our favors. When we deal with the small business, I've told about how much money comes back indirectly and some of it directly, and how the small businesses give back in a lot of areas where the large corporations don't. Everybody wins when you're dealing, generally speaking, with a small business. You win, the business wins, the area wins. So always bear that in mind, especially during these times. We need all the help we can get. Small businesses are really, really in a hard place right now. So just consider that. Joe, God bless you, my friend. Wish you an awesome day. It is a beautiful day today. And we're looking forward to having you back on and giving us an update. And I think I'm going to call you about your services.
Thank you, Risco. One more thing about the small business. On my website, the phone number on there goes directly to my phone, and not many big businesses have that luxury.
Yeah. Well, that's 3 of us that are on the line right now.
Yep.
All right, you guys have a great Sunday. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. Maybe we'll get some fishing in tonight, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
God bless. Tight lines, my friend.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Riscala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers. But that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped. Even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion. Air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road, you will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclub.com. That's www.susanclubb.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Clubb. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
Want to give your pet the celebrity treatment? Have you heard of Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care in Royal Palm Beach? They're located just off State Road 7 and have been servicing the area for 14 years. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care is the home of the Blueberry Facial, also specializing in tartar removal with 8 years of assisting in dental procedures. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care? They're more than just about dogs. They are the only experienced cat groomer in the area. They also cater to all breeds and sizes and open 6 days a week. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care, located just north of the Super Walmart in Royal Palm Beach. You can find them at 250 Business Parkway. They specialize in shampoos with no extra charge. Flea and tick dips also available. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. You can give them a call at 561-793-9992. They also provide gift certificates for those looking for that special present. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. 561-793-9992. They're located in Royal Palm Beach. That number, 561-793-9992. Call for your appointment today.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We have ignition. Strap in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. I just caught me a grouper. Some fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah, fishing and blowing on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, we are back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. Good morning. If you're just joining us, we will have archives set up. How do you find them? You go to our Fishing in Florida Show on Facebook, and you'll find links there. I have them on YouTube, but I haven't figured out quite yet how to get to search for it on YouTube, because if you put Fishing in Florida, you get a bazillion returns. We're probably number bazillion when you go looking for us. So if you go to the Facebook page, and you'll see there's links there to all the archives. Of course, once you find one archive, you'll find like the home page. You can find them all. Let's see, many different ways you can listen to us. The easiest of all those ways is we do have our own app, and the app has no adware, no spyware, and no push notifications. Just an easy way to listen to our network. You can find the app at the major stores, Google or the Apple Store, and you can find it under WCET FM. Another way you can listen to us, if you have the TuneIn app. Well, if you've got the TuneIn app, there's a couple of ways you can listen to us. You can find us on the LNM radio network if you have TuneIn, or you can find us at Marina Rock Radio. Marina Rock is one of the affiliates. A big thank you to them. They're out of the Miami area. Big thank you for letting us be on your network in the morning on Sundays and being able to share with your listeners out there. Another way you can listen to us, if you're on the wild web, you can go to our home address, which is www.wcetfm.com, and you'll find a player there as well. You can also listen to us from Facebook, by the way. If you click on Contact Us on Facebook, it'll get you to the live server as well. So there's many different ways you can listen to us, and if you're up there in the North Carolina or South Carolina area, we have, I think it's right between the two of them, we have an AM station up there, which is WCET AM. All right, let me get back to my co-host. That's Carolyn. Carolyn is with Atlas Trax, and if you want to protect what you love to the max, you got to talk to Carolyn at Atlas Trax. What is Atlas Trax, Carolyn?
Atlas Trax, we do GPS satellite tracking of assets, primarily boats and fishermen, which is great. So we're keeping an eye on folks for theft and safety when they're out there fishing for 8 to 14 hours a day and a little bit overdue at home. So that's kind of what my little brainchild I started.
I love the technology, and when we were talking to Joe and he was saying he was out there and he lost his, he can't get his cell service, I thought of you right away. I thought, well, that's a perfect application for that hotspot thing. What I like about what Carolyn has, one of my favorite things that Carolyn has, it's almost the size of a credit card, a little thicker than that, but about the overall size of a credit card. This thing is waterproof. Excuse me. It's waterproof. It's self-contained. It's self-powered. It's as portable as you can be. It's, you stick it in your back pocket if you're going to go fishing with some people. You stick it in your car if you're concerned that somebody might decide that they want your car more than you do. It is so powerful. You could stick it on it's so small you could probably stick it on a bicycle under the seat, right?
Yeah, it's 2 inches by 3 inches by a half-inch tall, and it can go in so many places, motorcycles, bicycles. We actually just completed a project. We're putting them on construction equipment, and we are making a invisible geofence around the tracker of a construction site, meaning that the tracker won't even wake up unless it goes more than 5,000 feet. So that way he knows if somebody's stealing his equipment off of a job site. Amazing.
And the thing I think about is the icebergs. You're tracking icebergs for somebody, right?
Yeah, we're doing a study that is just watching ocean currents and how they're moving around Greenland area for global warming projects. And that's a pretty cool project that we're working on now. And, unfortunately, when the icebergs start melting, the trackers kind of drop off, but that's, part of doing the scientific studies. But I think they're placed on the icebergs by a drone.
Wow. How about when they put them on the iceberg, they tie some kind of a floating device to it so that when the iceberg melts, it still floats. You can still find it within 10 feet anywhere in the planet, right? I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love
absolutely.
that.
And some of these sport fishing tournaments down in Costa Rica are so competitive. And some folks will actually, find something floating and want to go fish it the next day. And they're like, hey, if we had a tracker, we could just kind of put it right on that floating debris.
There's an idea. What an idea. There was a time when I was, we were down in my favorite place down in Anamorada off of Alligator Rock. And we were probably 15 miles due east of that. And we found, I think what it appeared to be anyway, a part of a dock, a part of a floating dock that had broken off. And the only thing that was left was the styrofoam. That's usually what they use for some of these docks. It was huge. It was like, oh my gosh, probably 5 feet by 6 feet, something like that. And there was everything under this thing. There was a barracuda under there. There was the little peanut dolphin were under there. There was a marlin that was coming, not a marlin, a sailfish that was coming in and out of there. And then there were bigger dolphin down below that in that area. And it was, we caught our belly full that day. One of the few times that we've had really a fantastic time out there. But it would have been nice to be able to go back and find it wherever it was, wherever it moved to.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, what's amazing? When we fished in Costa Rica, they are so hip on conservation. And we found a big floating rope, I think. And what they actually did was went out of their way to take a garbage bag, blow it up, and then tie it to that item so that either another boat won't run it over and get the line in the propellers, or someone could pull it out at some point. And I thought it was pretty cool that they went out of their way and actually attached just something from the kitchen to make sure that there was visible for somebody else. And, I mean, I wouldn't have, I'll think about doing that now here on this side, but I thought that was pretty cool.
That reminds me of some of the stuff that, like I said many times, the fishing industry is really phenomenal. I know it's probably the same in other areas, but it's really a phenomenal thing that goes on around our area here, between the conservation, between the cleaning up of the waters, the people that go out of their way to see to it that even if we have one tournament where it's put on by CCA of Florida, and in that tournament, there's the only tournament that I know of that has a category where if you go pick up trash, just go pick up trash, a 5-gallon, containers worth of trash, and take a picture of it and send it to them. They'll put your name in for a raffle, and somebody's going to win some money. So at the very minimum, everybody wins because you're picking up trash. That helps the fish, it helps the water, it helps the environment. It helps the people and makes it much more inviting walking up to an area that's clean versus walking up to an area that's got trash all around. And then there's the opportunity for you to win money. So it's one of the only ones I know of. And then we have Ocean Aid, Captain Holland with Ocean Aid, who goes to different areas and where they have these crab traps that are no longer being used, they're abandoned. They go out and pick them up. And then, of course, they pick them up, and then, you would think, well, great, now they're out of the water. What are they going to do with them? They're going to throw them, put them in a landfill? No, they take them and recycle them, and portions of them are used to actually rebuild reefs so that oysters can grow in that area. So all of this conservation and these things that the fishing community does to me is above and beyond. I hadn't even mentioned all the people that reach out between the tournaments, like you mentioned earlier, the Fishing for the Cure. How many tournaments do we have where the proceeds go to some need of some sort? We have Chasing Tails, another tournament where you go out and you have a great time. You spend a little money to get in the tournament, but knowing that the money that you invest in that tournament is going to go to a good cause, somebody that really needs it. In the meantime, you may end up winning some money, but the very worst of it all, as I like to say, my worst day at fishing is better than my best day at work because it's just so relaxing. It's just the whole ambience of the whole thing. So Anyway, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, even on a day like today, and Pam Worth, the kayak fisherwoman, is she talks about how she gets their gear going. I mean, there's something soothing about pulling line off of a fishing rod, creating that sound that it sounds like a fish is on, and just putting your gear back together. I have a fly fishing rod, and I'm terrible at casting, but I'll cast and practice in the street, and I'm catching shrubs and trees and things that palm trees, and I'm terrible at it, but I'm outside and I'm going through the motions of pretending, so why not? And it's just about getting outside and moving the joints around and being athletic. And the whole entire fishing community, the Coastal Conservation Association that you mentioned, and all these others, I mean, these are spare time hobbies that we're doing around full-time jobs. That's the important thing for our listeners to know. These are not full-time gigs. These are just things we find in the minute minutes that we have between our normal lives.
And they make a difference. They make a big difference. I think about on the West Coast when they had I can't remember, I think it was red snapper, or snapper. Maybe it was just snapper. Maybe it might have been red snapper. But they were conserving snapper, and I had a couple of young kids on. This was about 2 years ago, I think. And they were diving in the area, and I had asked them to come on and tell me what's going on, because as a fisher person, as an angler, I'm at the top of the water, and you guys are down inside the water. I don't get to see that. What are you seeing? And they said due to the conservation that had been occurring, that species had come back abundantly. It was just, they were everywhere. So when there's a step taken in order to help the environment. Again, everybody wins. They help the environment, they help the fish, and then, of course, we win because we get to fish and we get to go back there and catch some of those fish. That's why I was wondering with 200 or 300 or 400 fish. Can you imagine that? 200 or 300 or 400 swordfish being caught over a 2 or 3 day period? That's amazing. And so it was good to know that he felt it was easily sustainable with that number. That's pretty nice.
Right, because Joe has been involved in sword fishing since I met him, which was probably 2001 or 2. And we went out with him just recreationally and swordfish the night, which was my first experience. A lot of fun. This is years ago. So, yeah, for him to see the shift in the 20-year span is pretty amazing. For him to get that vibe, the fish are coming back, is great.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's good feeling for me because my parents were telling me time and again, their generation was trying to teach our generation to leave the place better than it was when we came, because that's what their generation was taught. Leave the place better. Always make it better for the next generation. And I kind of see where we lost sight of that for a little while, but where it's coming back into focus again, more and more and more. It's a little painful sometimes. I'll be honest with you. I didn't like the idea of catching really nice snook. This is like 3 months ago now. It still bothers me a little bit. It's the first time in my life I've ever caught a fish that was edible and threw it back because it wasn't in season. But I understood why. And the reason that conservation was in place was when I looked down in the water and I saw, probably 30, 40 of these snook, huge snook. These were 35-pound snook, easy 30, 35-pound snook. And you look down in the water's nice and clear, and you can see 30, 40 of these things down there. It pays off. When you see that, the pain of not being able to keep them pays off because you know that you're doing the right thing. There'll be more for more generations if we're conservative, if we do the right thing, if we take care of the water, we take care of what lives in the water. Because, here's something I rarely think about, but it's true. How much of our body is water? So if we're not taking care of the water around us, how much are we not taking care of our bodies? That's a thought.
And I have to say, when we get out there, where you used to see a lot of floating debris, at least in my area, Deerfield Beach, Boca, we're seeing a lot less debris. And I'll tell you, even going to the beach yesterday, Riscala, it's something I normally don't do, but everybody took their garbage with them when the air show was over. And that's something you normally don't see. Yeah, people usually, leave junk for somebody else to pick up. And It was nice. People are being more aware. It was the crowd was great. Everybody was patriotic, and leave the beach the way you found it.
Or as I like to say, leave it in better condition than you found it. Meaning that if you not only pick up your trash, but if you see someone else's trash, if they were, disrespectful and left their stuff laying around, pick it up too. Make it even better than when it was before you showed up. And that kind of thing is where why I support that. Everybody wins, Carolyn. You win, I win, the environment wins, anything that uses the environment wins. How can you not support something like that? It's good to know that people, the mentality is beginning to change, I believe, where people are more aware of, hey, listen, it's not cool. Don't leave that bag there. Pick it up. So what if we have to carry it for a couple 100 feet and throw it in a trash can? Big deal. I think more and more people are becoming aware of that because, again, everybody wins. And guess what? You and me, we're part of everybody. So I like that.
Yep. It's absolutely, it's going to help everything. It's not going to trickle into the water. It's going to keep those fisheries the way we need them. And I don't care if it's a lake, if it's a little canal, or if it's an ocean. So, we want the kids to be able to fish in the future and learn from us and get out there and share with their kids. So I'm just really excited about it.
I'm right there with you. All right, it's time to take a little break, and we'll be back. You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show this morning with Riscala and Carolyn. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Riscala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers. But that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped. Even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion. Air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. So I'm fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah, fishing and blowing on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, we are back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. Good morning to you. If you are here in South Florida, it is a gorgeous good morning. My goodness, it is one of those days where you just waiting for the crisp, cool air when you wake up in the morning. And it happened to be that way this morning. It's not going to be that way for long. Our high today is supposed to be in 83. But when I got up this morning, it had to be, my gosh, it had to be probably close to 70 degrees. Anyway, we'll move on. And let me get my co-host back here. That's Carolyn. Carolyn is with Atlas Trax. And you know what I say about Carolyn. If you want to protect what you love to the max, you got to talk to Carolyn. At Atlas Trax, welcome back, Miss Carolyn.
Thank you so much, Riscala. It's just going to be a great day. I know everyone's going to get out and enjoy the day.
And I think I have Carol with Mermaid Vodka. Let me see if this is her. Good morning, Miss Carol. She's there, but she's got a phone. No, maybe not. All right. Well, and then I have Joe is who I have. I'm sorry. I am all mixed up this morning. Wait a minute. This is
Captain Ray.
Captain Ray. Good morning.
You do.
Good morning, Captain Ray. How are you, sir?
Riscala. Social distancing from the Tampa Bay area this morning. How are you doing?
Oh my gosh. I'm looking at my sheet of who the next guest is, and I've got your phone number and Carol's phone number start out the same, and I'm going, oh, I think that's Carol. She was. We missed her on the last slot, so I thought she was calling in. Good morning, sir. How are you? And where are you?
I am in St. Petersburg, Florida. That's where I am. And well, last weekend, actually, I was fishing down around your neck of the woods. I actually started out somewhere near Estero, worked our way through the Everglades and over to like Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, fishing for some kind of crazy exotics, some peacock bass, some clown knife fish, and snakeheads with a couple of friends of mine, Alberto Nee and Debbie Hansen. Had a great time. We did catch peacock bass. We did catch clown knives. The snakeheads eluded us. We caught largemouth bass too. But all in all, it was a crazy day. I've never done that. Kind of land fishing, if you will. Just hopping from lake and creek and whatever to creek and like warding off the big snakes and the alligators and mosquitoes. It's crazy, but fishing over here is a little tamer. We get out on the bay this last week. The wind was howling, coming off the new moon last week. We had some extreme low tides, more than a foot below mean low, which basically meant that you got a lot of exposed land where normally there's water. So it makes for some pretty easy fishing, actually, in that it consolidates the fish. Fish got no place else to go but stay in the water, so they drop off into the holes, the potholes, and the channel edges and things like that. And we whacked a bunch of trout, some snook, redfish, bluefish.
Oh my goodness!
flounder, jacks, ladyfish, a little bit of everything. So it's, when you have fish that get tightly grouped like that, it's kind of like fishing, shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, I was going to say fishing in a barrel. They're corralled almost, right? It's almost like corralling them.
Pretty much. I mean, we don't have to do it. They do it all by themselves. But all I do is throw artificials, and I found a few things out because the water had been so stirred up from all the wind and everything. It's not anything new to me, but it's when it happens. You need to throw a little bit larger profile bait so the fish have a little easier time to seeing it. And also it helps sometimes if you get a bait that has a little bit more vibration. They can feel that through the lateral line. They don't necessarily have to even see the bait, but they can feel it. I threw a couple of different baits that worked really well. I threw some topwaters for a while, got a lot of blasts as usual. Not tons of hookups, but the fish that we did catch were really quality fish. The mirror top dog, which is one of my larger topwater baits that I throw, has a kind of a knocking noise to it when you twitch the rod. It walks the dog kind of like a Zerespook or skitter walk from Rapala. It's all those are similar kind of actions that really do get some attention. You get a lot of blow ups on the bait, but sometimes they miss it. But it's just the excitement of watching these fish come up the surface and hit it that takes it from me. I don't care because I'm letting them go anyway most of the time. So
that ought to be a heck of a sight. So I think you're probably. I can't tell you how many people have told me. You think that vibrating and sounds really make a difference in the lure versus a lure that doesn't make as much vibration?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it depends on the scenario as well. When you have times that the water's ultra clear, and we're starting to get into that point in time when that's going to occur because the water temperature is starting to fall. It's still up a lot. It shouldn't be 75 to 80 degrees in the latter part of November. It should be 72, 71, 70 right in there. But what it does is it kills off the algae that's in the water. Mm-hmm. The algae dies off and the water just gets crystal clear. It's yen clear. And when that happens, fish do get a little bit spookier. You really need to, kind of steer a little bit away from the really loud colors, the bright colors that are out there. Try and get something that's a little more subtle, maybe something that doesn't rattle or not quite as loud. Because fish do get a little spooky when it gets like that. So, and I'll scale down the size of the bait sometimes a little bit too. But yeah, definitely. I mean, if you want to get a fish's attention, you definitely put something with a rattle in it, something that vibrates. The tails on most of the soft plastics that are paddle tails have a built-in vibration. You don't really have to do much but reel. But when the water temperature starts dropping, you don't really have to work the bait as quickly. Just work it in the bottom third of the water column and let it bump off the bottom, because the majority of the species have a tendency to go down closer to the bottom when the water really gets cold. So that's pretty easy stuff. I mean, fishing 101 for artificials in different scenarios.
It is truly, it reminds me of when I was a kid. It's truly an inspiration when you can go out and you don't have to worry about taking live bait with you. You can take whatever you need with you within a couple of hands and go out and catch what you want. Oh my gosh, redfish? Did you say? I heard you say redfish. I heard you say snook. Sure. I heard you say peacock bass.
Fish, trout, bluefish, jacks, ladyfish, lizardfish, you name it.
Wow.
Well, we'll even catch, grouper, we'll catch black sea bass and things like that typically you see offshore this time of year. They're starting to move in a little bit closer, but of course, when you got an estuary like Tampa Bay, the majority of like gag grouper, they grow up in that estuary before they get large enough to where they head out the Gulf and deeper water. So.
Wow.
And Captain Ray, what makes I'm from Connecticut, so we used to always go blue fishing up there, striper fishing, and to hear blues in the Gulf, they're coming down. How are they getting down here?
We've always had bluefish here.
I didn't know that.
Bluefish don't get nearly as big as they do up north. I mean, the average size bluefish would be around 2 to 3 pounds. A big one would be 4.5, and I know they get much bigger than that up north. But those things are just vicious. You can take a bluefish that's 18, 20 inches long and a trout that's 20 inches long. That bluefish will come up behind that trout and cut it in half, or not in half. It'll cut it off at the gills and eat the entire body. So, I mean, one fell swoop. They've got some teeth that are just vicious.
Are you sure they're not piranha? Just they're bluefish piranha.
Well, I call them like flats piranha. I mean, they kind of are like that. The teeth are just incredibly sharp, and they get in and they tear a fish apart in no time at all. Just one big bite.
My goodness. That
And
reminds
I'll
me.
never forget when I was a young girl, we'd fish a place called the Race up in Long Island Sound, and I remember these things bubbling, the blues bubbling on the surface, and anything you threw in was devoured in seconds.
Wow.
Sure.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're vicious fish. I mean, they attack with a vengeance. They come in and take no survivors. It's just boom, it's over.
That's amazing. Well, all right, we're running a little bit behind here. Captain Ray, if people want to find you online, I know one place we can find you is Facebook. Anywhere else we can find you?
Yes, sir. I'm the West Central field editor for Florida Sportsman Magazine. I write for the magazine, and each month you take a look at that. If you go on the Florida Sportsman website, I write a weekly fishing forecast in there in the West Central Florida area, as well as I have a website, CaptainRayMarkham.com. 2 cell phones, area code 941 for each one, and the first one is what I call my fish phone. It's actually the catfish phone. If you spelled out catfish and looked at the dial, it would spell 228-3474. So that's the catfish phone. And then what used to be my land-based line, 941-723-2655.
Now, the 228 is same area code, 941?
Yes, they're both area code 941.
Okay, good deal. Well, I want to thank you, my friend. I greatly appreciate it. I'm sorry about the mix-up. It was rather unusual. Because
it's radio. That's not unusual at all. I did a radio show for 12 years out of Tampa for Florida Sportsman, and between the board ops and the phone lines, things bound to get a little bit confusing sometimes. So.
Well, I truly thank you, and I greatly appreciate your time and you sharing with us this morning. And I'll get a hold of you. I'd like to get you back on maybe in a couple of months to give us an update about what's going on in your area, so we have a general idea of what's going on around the state.
Give me a shout. Happy Thanksgiving to all you guys out there.
God bless you, my friend. Go ahead, Carolyn.
You got it, Captain Ray. Have a great weekend. Help my best to your family.
All right, thank you.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Scala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Everywhere you look, people are talking about CBD. That's why it's such an exciting time to experience HempWorks, the best-selling, most in-demand line of premium CBD oil and CBD products for your health and wellness. Founded by entrepreneur, executive, and business coach Janice Wagle, HempWorks premium quality standards can be found from the top down and across the organization. From hemp farms to clean extraction methods to safe bottling, every step in our production process is vetted, monitored, and traceable, literally from the ground up. Thanks to our unique tracking system on the side of every HempWorks CBD tincture, we can track each batch of CBD oil all the way back to the farm it came from, all to ensure that you are offering safe, effective, and high-grade CBD products.
For more information, go to mydailychoice.com/redpill. That's mydailychoice.com/redpill, and you'll find a whole variety of products available for you.
Sun shines all day. Just call me a grouper.
All right, we are back. It is the Fishing in Florida show. Good morning. If you're just joining us, we will have archives. So anything that you've missed, you can go to Fishing in Florida on our Facebook page, and you can find a link to all our archives there. Let me welcome back my co-host. That's Carolyn. Carolyn is with Atlas Trax. If you want to protect what you love to the max, who are you going to call? Carolyn at Atlas Trax. Welcome back, my dear.
Thank you so much, Riscala.
And I think we finally have Carol. Actually, let's see. Carol, is that you?
I'm here.
Look at there.
Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, Riscala. So sorry about the delay.
Not to worry. I did a real good.
We were actually.
Go ahead.
We were actually loading our truck. We our distributor doesn't deliver to certain areas, so when he doesn't, we do those deliveries ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you know it's a little liquid sunshine going on outside, so we were loading up the delivery truck because we got to get deliveries done before the holidays.
Yep.
Lots of people wanting Mermaid vodka, which is a great thing. We're happy about that, but I do apologize about the delay. We got carried away putting the cases in the truck.
Well, here's what was crazy. Right after you, we had Captain Ray, and I missed you. And Captain Ray called in, and I looked at the number, and he had almost the same number you had, very close. And I went, "Oh, it was you." So I said, "Hey, Carol, good morning, Carol." Oh my gosh! So, well, thank you for coming back and calling in, and I appreciate that. Wanted to give you an opportunity this morning to kind of share with the listeners about, because Thanksgiving is coming up and it is holiday season, something that you offer that is, again, we were talking earlier about supporting small businesses and some of the advantages when we had Joe on, and Joe was saying, hey, listen, if you're not really within my delivery area, but if you want it bad enough, we'll work it out for you. Why? Because he's a small business owner. Here you have another small business owner, and how much coincidence is there? She's telling you, well, my regular delivery driver doesn't do it, so I'm loading up my truck so that I'll do it. This is the reasons that I ask people, please, whenever you have an opportunity to deal with a small business versus a large corporation, this is why. This is Sunday. She's out there working on Sunday. Well, I'm glad that you're able to do it, my friend, and I'm support you in any way I can. Anything special going on for the holidays?
Actually, we are taking a different turn. Normally, personally, that is, normally we would probably go out and fish, weather permitting, conditions permitting, on Thanksgiving, and then have a big dinner with friends and family. But we're going up north to western Pennsylvania, and we're gonna hopefully harvest a deer to put in our freezer, and the meat in our freezer, and visit with some friends and family up north. So that's where we're going. We may get some fishing in when we get back, but that's our plan. We got a long drive up to western Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
A little cold up there, so it's a little mixed emotions, but it's always great to see friends and family. We're going to stop in Maryland on the way back, which is where I'm from, and see good family there in Ocean City, and check out the surf while we're there, and
excellent.
Just enjoy family. And Mermaid vodka is, like I said, we're chugging ahead. We're getting all our deliveries done before we leave, so that we make sure everybody's stocked up, because let's face it, when you're going to stay home and entertain, lots of vodka drinkers out there, and we hope that they'll select Mermaid vodka for their bar and to serve to their guests. It's great quality, and we take pride in the fact that we use organic corn and filtered water, and everything's from Florida. So we feel like it's a great complement to any beverages that you might be serving for your holiday gathering, which, as we know, has to stay small this year. So.
Well, you said great. I think it's more like awesome, but that's just me.
And I have to tell you, excuse me, Carol, I have to tell all of our listeners, this will be, because you're going hunting, this will be the first time you're not fishing with the Pink Ladies Mermaid Vodka fishing team on that rescheduled December 5 tournament. So I will be missing you big time.
I know. I like I said, mixed emotions about the whole trip. I hate to miss a tournament, but I know you all will do fantastic and get to the scales and get on the the leaderboard. So I'm looking forward to tracking your results and watching from a distance. You guys are going to catch them up for sure.
Well, I wanna wish you safe travels. I have to cut you short because we missed a slot, and I've got somebody coming up. But I do want to thank you for taking the time to call in. Safe travels. I'll be looking to have you back on, giving us an update about whether you were successful or not in being able to bring back some deer meat. And we'll catch up with you. Probably after in the new year. Next year, we'll catch up to you next year. How's that?
We're looking forward to next year. I don't know about y'all, but
Me too.
Thank you so much for having us on. We do appreciate it. And anybody that wants to find Mermaid Vodka, all they got to do is go to mermaidvodkausa.com, and we list the retailers on our website, some of the small mom and pops, and of course all the big box. Happy Thanksgiving to both of you, and again, thank you so much for having me on, and apologies for the delay.
No worries. God bless you. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Be safe, Carol, and I'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you, doll.
Safe travels,
Bye-bye.
my dear. God bless. See ya. All right, I'm pretty sure we have Mike with kitefishing.com. Mike Simko. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Riscala and Carolyn. How are you guys doing today?
Great, Mike. Getting ready for a holiday week, I hope.
Oh, I know. It's going to be different this year, huh?
Yeah.
Little bit different, absolutely. And the good thing is the seas are laying down soon.
I know. It's been a long time with this wind blowing like it has.
Which is perfect for you.
Well,
I got to tell you, it never ceases to amaze me how this time of year, we kind of get used to fishing and all the different kind of fishing seasons, but right around Thanksgiving, I mean, it's like the energy level goes way up. We start cleaning up our sailfish gear and making sure the kites and kite gear are all absolutely perfect, and live well pumps are great. So this is really an exciting time because right after Thanksgiving, I mean, that's generally when most of the sailfish guys in South Florida start looking for the big pods of sailfish and tracking them and making sure that you're ready for tournament time.
Right. Have you been out fishing at all, or has it been rough up there in Palm Beach?
It's been rough. I haven't fished. I was telling Riscala yesterday that right around the first week of November, me and 4 friends will always go up to Kentucky. We go up to northwestern Kentucky and hunt deer. We kind of have a quota of 2 each, so 10 deer plus we get a couple for the farmers, and that area is so prolific. So yeah, I just got home last night. We did our hunt, came home, got the freezer stocked with venison, and now it's back to kite fishing.
Congratulations! Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it's just it's such farm country up there, and actually there's so many deer, there's an overpopulation in a sense. And
wow.
The farmers really they like you to kind of cull it's not, it's nice to get a monster buck, but, really it's about taking out some of the doe population because, the farms get, run over by these things. So.
Wow. So that is.
We feel like we're doing a service.
I take it where you were was really way out there, right?
It's up there. I mean, it's it's 15 hours from South Florida. Some of my friends are up in Daytona, pick them up and go 12 hours from there. But it's about an hour southeast of Cincinnati. So to give you some perspective it's near the Ohio border. And when I say farm country, it's just nothing but rolling hills and deep low areas, foresty areas. It's just perfect deer country.
I was amazed at all the fun. I went to go visit my daughter in Ohio, and I was amazed. I don't know why. I guess I'm ignorant about that, but I thought because it got so cold up there, it wouldn't really be good for farming. But boy, was I in for a surprise. It was like exactly what you just described. I was shocked.
Well, it might be surprising to hear that it was 70 degrees some days up there. I mean, this time of year. So they'll get snow around mid-December. And sometimes if a front moves through in November, but it was kind of warm. So.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you were able to do that. So let me ask you a little bit now, because we've had so much wind now. As the wind begins to die back down, and one of the things that you were so graceful in sharing your experiences with us about the kites. as we get ready for this, again, it's sailfish season, right? We're going into sailfish season, and one of the best ways I have ever heard of to go out there and hunt sailfish is with a kite.
Yeah, so, what gets exciting about this time of year as fall starts to rip through here, fall leading into winter, is when that wind shifts into that north quadrant, anything northwest, north, northeast, that's when it gets kind of exciting as far as sailfish migration. The weather the temperature drops, obviously, because that, that's what really, turns that wind that way. And so when it starts doing that, and it's not, listen, I can't even say when it's not too rough, because we go out there in 10-foot seas. I mean, that's the rougher it gets, and I don't mean rough to a point of danger, but the rougher it gets, the white caps oxygenate the top surface of the water, which brings the bait up and brings the fish up with it. It's an exciting time. So, and then we found that because of all those conditions matching up, you fly a kite, which allows you to add, let's just say three baits per kite, 2 to 3 kites. You have all these live baits on the surface, which, when all those conditions bring the sailfish up, is really a great opportunity to catch numbers of them. It's easy to go out and catch 1 or 2, but when you start talking double digits, 10, even 20 or 30 some days, the kite is a perfect way to do that, because, again, sailfish are rising to the surface. The water is very oxygenated. Add some current to that, and they'll, current usually coming from the south to the north, and they put their nose right in the current. They get a lot of oxygen, they get a lot of energy, and they're ready to eat. So add all those things up and put a kite up, and you got some good sailfish action.
Awesome. It's almost like, when you're describing it, it's kind of a way, maybe a little over-exaggerating, but it's almost like making your own little school of fish, a little school of bait fish, waiting for these guys to show up.
Yeah, that's no joke. I mean, people do it all day long with chum. A lot of times, if you can, what we say is black out your well with little small chum baits, regardless of the type of fishing. So you toss out little handfuls of those live baits, and they, what they'll do is they'll ball up and try to use the boat as shelter, because they need some protection from the predators. And now, kites are no different. Now you just basically are forcing those baits out away from the boat, and a number of them in the general vicinity. It just adds to the action
exponentially, because you can do 3, right? You can do 3 per kite. If you have 3 kites out there, that's 9 baits that you would normally not be able to utilize out as a tool to help you catch whatever it is that you happen to be looking for at the time. Along with, I've heard you. I think you were the one who told me you caught a. Was that you caught a grouper or something like that off a kite?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you do enough kite fishing, you're going to catch all kinds of different species. And as it turns out, when you're drifting, let's just say you're drifting while the kites are flying, from the wind's coming out of the east, southeast, and now the kite is pushing in towards shore. The boat kind of drifts towards shore. So now on the offshore side, we'll have baits fishing in 3 dimensions, right? Bottom, mid-depth, surface, maybe on a balloon or just free line. And then you have your kites on the inshore side of the boat. So now you're drifting inshore. And sometimes when the action is slow, we'll just keep drifting. And you go for 180 feet, 150, 100. Now you find yourself very, very shallow, 80, 70, 60. Guess what, even bottom fish are looking up. So yeah, we've caught mutton snapper on the surface.
That's amazing.
Grouper, and of course everything else you can imagine.
I was surprised when you told me about that. Carolyn, were you trying to say something? I'm sorry.
No, I was actually just intently listening, because I'm thinking about 9 baits plus a couple deep lines. I'm thinking you got to have a lot of anglers that know what they're doing on when you've got that going on, especially if you get into a nice little school of sailfish.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
Mike, you've got 9 baits out. How many people are watching over that?
Yeah, you guys took the words out of my mouth. If you're going to go really advanced, this is kind of like an advanced technique. Even the 3rd kite, you won't see many boats flying 3, but as I've seen this evolution over the years, more and more boats will deploy a third bait or a third kite right in the middle of the spread of kites. So it takes a very coordinated effort, and guys and women that really have, some experience in it, so when the line looks like it potentially can tangle, or a bait is moving towards another bait, like another kite bait. So yeah, it's an effort. The more people that know what they're doing, the better. I have seen sailfish teams, Carolyn knows Real Captivating, for example, and there can be as many as 13, 14 people on that boat, all specific to their jobs, knowing what they're doing, making sure that they don't conflict with another, angler. And it's a very cool thing to watch. I mean, it's like a dance.
But I'm not clear about this, and I don't mean to be facetious. I'm trying to, in my mind, I'm trying to see if you have 3 kites out there, you got 9 lines, and you set up to 14 people. You have 14 people watching over it.
Yeah. So on my boat, for example, let's just use the example of a medium-sized center console boat. Mine's 35 feet, and we'll point the bow into the wind. So example, the 3 kites. Let's just say the 3 kites are on the stern side of the boat, transom side. So I have a rocket launcher with 8 rods in it. Then I've got a 12 rod holder, so I've got 9 rods in the rocket launcher, and 3 anglers, all side by side. So let's just say on the starboard side of the boat, I have one guy watching 3 rods. Second angler is watching 3 rods right in the middle, and then on the port side kite, third angler watching those 3. So now you have 9 baits and 3 anglers watching those. Now there's a captain that's running the wheel, so that's the 4th guy, and usually 2 or 3 other guys that are standing by, as assist, making sure that there's fresh baits ready. There's, I have a product that I sell called the bait bar. So I always have 8 baits on rigs in their tubes, waiting for the opportunity to go back out on the kite if we lose a bait.
I didn't know you had that.
Oh yeah, so that's just part of my gig, is that I have a few inventions that I sell specifically for live bait fishing and kite fishing, and that's so it just takes, but all that takes manpower and woman power to make sure that everything is kind of flowing. You get 9 baits out there, a kingfish or a wahoo cuts off a couple baits. Well, depending upon the kite, we need that 4th or 5th person to bring in the kite. As it comes in and it gets to a point where we can replace a bait, boom, connect to the snap swivel, deploy the kite back out, pitch the bait, wind it up so it's vertical from the kite, and that's the dance. That's more or less the way we orchestrate it out there. And of course, you can imagine if you have multiple fish hook up at the same time. This is where it really gets fun.
Yeah.
Imagine 4 to 6 sailfish all eating at the same time, all going in different directions. And I don't care how good you are, there's just no way to anticipate which way they go. So half the fun is, how many can you get in? How many do you lose? It just makes for great stories.
Oh my gosh. How many have you had at one time, Mike?
Well, I've had 7 hook at one time.
Oh my gosh.
We brought 5 of the 7 in. We got 5 of the 7 in. That's kind of my record. It's not a record by any means. I mean, there are boats that, you get lucky and you get every one of them. But my personal best is that sometimes I'm the sole angler on my boat with a team that supports me. So, let's just say I have a 5 total man team, but I'm the sole angler in some particular tournaments, and I've caught a quad 4 fish by myself. So that was, it's impossible to do alone. It really is impossible to do alone, because you need a captain that's swinging the boat the right way to pull away from a fish that, it's going long.
Yeah.
You bring the closest fish in, and you need mates to leader the fish, and identify it. So it's a real strategy.
That is a skill there. That is a true skill to be able to do that. I think of the days when I had 3 on my boat, and we had 2 people would catch We'd hook up into a school of dolphin or something. I was usually behind the wheel, so I had to make sure the boat was headed in the right direction at the right speed. Those two had to take care of their business back there. I couldn't imagine one person all by themselves trying to do all that. That's amazing, Mike. That is really something. I like that.
It's borderline ridiculous, but it's fun. It's fun. I only do that a few times a year, but
wow.
The rest of the time, of course, everybody's grabbing rods and fighting the fish, and it gets a little easier then. But like I said, there's one or two events where it's just me angling, and that's my selfish side.
Well, and I could tell you when we fished the ladies' Los Sueños tournament with an observer, IGFA observer on board last January, the guys weren't allowed to do anything, no hookups or anything. So we were getting double hookups, and we'd have to fight a fish, make sure we were cranking one in the gunnel, try and get the first fish, then pick up the rod, hand it off, after we get the first one called, and fight the second one, fight the third one. It was insane, because I'll tell you, a lot of swearing going on in that cockpit. So we're a bunch of girls. We're a bunch of girls.
You know how fun that gets, Carolyn. That's pretty cool.
I wasn't ready for that, Carolyn. No warning.
I didn't know Carol knew some of those words.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
And there was one time she hooked up to a blue marlin, and the line wrapped right around her thumb and burned her. So it was pretty insane.
Wow. Oh boy.
You had Mike had said something that I was going to kind of refer to. The word was orchestrated, because it sounded like when you had like up to 14 people on a boat, it had to be very similar to an orchestra. Everybody has their own little part to play in order for everything to work out and come out correctly. And it's a coordinated effort. I can't imagine with 3 people on the boat. It was chaos to have 14. Oh Lord, yeah. Everybody'd have to know exactly what they need to do, how to do it, how fast it need to be done, when it needed to be done. That's amazing. That truly is amazing. I couldn't. Again, it would be like an orchestra. You said orchestrated. It would be like an orchestra. Like everybody has a unique part. You got the violins, you got the trumpets, you got the drums, you got everybody does their own unique little part. But the overall scheme of things, hopefully when everything is done together, you have a nice sound. And that sound is everybody applauding each other. Yeah, high-fiving, and we did it. That kind of thing.
Hey, Mike, I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
A quick question. So do you like to have your angler assigned to a specific rod, and that's his only rod he watches? Or do you do the, hey, first one that can get to the rod?
No, we always dedicate to start. Now, let's just say, when everything's calm and you got baits deployed and you're watching, and you're just, as you know, you're trying to keep those baits at a certain level on the surface. And at that point, there's a person, let's just call him an angler, that's managing the 2 or 3 rods that are on that kite and those 2 or 3 baits. But you have to be able to, and this is where everybody has to know, you have to be able to cross-train and know that you have other jobs that are going to be required when the chaos happens. So in an ideal, let's just say that in an ideal simple world, one sailfish eats one bait and it's managed by that particular angler. He'll pick up the rod, move around to the front of the rod holder, or to the front of the rocket launcher, and then just feed that fish, set the hook, angle it himself, and somebody else slides in and kind of looks at the other rods that are on that kite. So everybody kind of does that little move dance. When chaos occurs, that's where this whole experience, knowing everybody's job, comes into play, and that's where it gets really cool, because there are no rules when it comes to that. So second fish bites, the next guy that kind of slid in there, he's watching that, he's grabbing that rod. Third, fourth, fifth, it just gets even more crazy. So I would never say that I would just we don't draw straws and say, okay, you've got first fish. It's always like well in advance. This is your job to start, and if a fish grabs that, good, you got him. Next guy slides in, he'll grab second if it happens to hit that kite. If you imagine the second guy that was working on kite number 2, he may never get a bite, but he'll never leave that rod because he's watching those baits. That's the way we manage that. And when the captain let's just say the captain on the wheel decides to slide, kick the boat over left to port for that first sailfish that bit. Now he's moving and dragging kites in a different direction, so it's even more important that people are watching their baits, keeping them in the water, watching the kites, making sure the kites don't get all goofed up and start spinning and flying into the water. So that's where, you might be an angler, but you kind of need to watch your kites. Again, know everybody's job. That's a real important factor in this.
With everything that you're describing, the one thing I can't imagine with my experience in fishing and only having 3 of us on the boat, I can't imagine having 7 fish on at one time. What you talk about chaos. I don't even think chaos would properly describe the situation. 7 of them at one time. Oh my gosh. And then being able to get 5 of the 7.
So that's been the evolution of these kite tournaments and these fishing, let's say the sailfish tournaments. It's not, back in the 80s when I was doing this, there were, it was always a 3 or 4 man team, and it wasn't a big deal. And, people picked at the sailfish, and if you were the lucky guys that got multiple fish, you win, because anybody can catch 1 fish at a time. But, when it starts getting to 2 and 3 and 4, so that as time went on, we saw, the second kite being deployed. We saw more baits added to the kite lines. We saw more anglers and, mates added to the teams. So this thing went from 3 to 5 guys to 7, 8, 9, and now with video and, video identification, you need dedicated camera people. All they do is make sure under any circumstance that fish is identified, whether he's underwater, whether he jumped, sometimes both. It's become a real team event, no question about it.
Unbelievable. I'm still thinking in my mind. There was a couple of times when it was rare for us, but we had 2 fish on and the chaos. I'm thinking, my God, 7. What do you, unless you know what the heck you're doing, how do you keep them all from getting entangled with each other? I mean, I'm just thinking about all these things as you're describing. Oh my gosh. It really would.
Well, sometimes they do. Oftentimes they do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the worst case, imagine your long bait, no, I'll give you a worse case than that. Your short port bait gets eaten. Sailfish runs off to the port side. Then he goes long and he circles around the other 2 baits that are on that port kite. He takes a left and he starts wrapping around he tries to wrap around every bait in your spread. And if you don't have if you don't have anglers managing those kite baits that are, in every scenario, this thing wrapping around, lifting the bait out of the water to make sure that he goes under the bait and not through the bait.
Yep.
You have a disaster on your hands.
Huh.
I mean, not only is there, you can lose all those other baits, you'll lose the fish. Sometimes those fish are hard to come by, and every sailfish counts in a tournament. So yeah, I mean, you can imagine, every fish is money, every lost bait is money, and time. Time is money. I mean, I just can go on with every scenario and, possibility. So that's why, yes, have people that know what they're doing, understand that as these fish are hooked and moving and jumping, that you need to keep the other baits out of their way to protect those baits and to also continue fishing. And that's the nature of it.
And Riscala, what I'll do is I'll ask next time the guys at Real Captivating are going out, I'll ask to do a ride along so I can get a little video and share it with our listeners about how crazy it gets when these guys are fishing.
That'd be awesome. I do have a short video of Mike Simko and some of the techniques that he has on the Fishing in Florida show. You may have to dig a little bit. It's been a while. But there is a short video with Mike there. And then, of course, you can always find him at kitefishing.com. Is that right, Mike? Kitefishing.com?
Right on. Thank you for that. And my contact information is there. I can tell you what really drives me is getting people into the sport and helping them understand it. And, I think that sharing is caring. So, this is not about, me protecting, some sort of secrets. I want those secrets out there because, people a lot of times don't get into kite fishing because they think it's very complicated and it's very hard. I mean, listen, it's a beautiful thing.
In my ignorance, I thought it was silly because when I first heard about kites, that's what kids do. That's what, men don't fly kites. And then I was quickly shamed when I was educated a little bit by you, Mike, in telling me what you really do with a kite. I mean, so there was one person, at least me, who was rather ignorant, who thought, well, that's silly to use a kite. And there were times when we were out on the ocean, I would see people with a kite, and I go, that's again, it was my ignorance. Now that I know, I'm going, wow, what did I miss an opportunity? Holy smokes, man! So it's a completely
well, you weren't exactly wrong. I mean, we're all just big kids. So that's really all it is.
Yeah, but it's a serious kid that can exponentially increase the odds of their ability to catch something by using a kite. That's what I learned. I said, holy smokes, what a, and we talked earlier, you said you could have 3 kites, 3 on a kite, that's 9 out there. And then you've got, if you're somebody who's maybe, like you mentioned, drifting, or you could have medium, depending upon what depth of water, you can have something as little as 15, 20, 30 feet down, and something even a little deeper than that. So you've got this mass variety in different depths of the water, and your odds go way up. And the reason for the odds going way up are the kites.
Yeah, no question. And along that line, I'll leave you with this one, Carolyn. You'll appreciate this, but often, regardless of the number of baits we have on the kite, I'll always put one what I would think is the weakest area of the spread. So in other words, imagine that if most of the fish are coming from north to south, perhaps, and they try to avoid the boat if they can, the shadow of the boat. I would consider the weakest bait to be the inside left bait. So the closest bait to the boat, which is on the south side of the boat. And so I'll put a heavier weight on that particular setup. I'll eliminate the marker on the line that tells us how high we are above the water. I'll eliminate that. I'll put a heavier weight on it. And then I'll drop that one. I'll estimate about 50 feet of drop, and I'll drop him deep in the water. So now we have a kite bait that's actually sitting deep in the water column. And so any of those fish that are coming from north to south, and they would typically drop down below the boat to avoid the engine noise and whatever, they're going to see a bait. So you can do the 3-dimension thing on kites as well. It's not just all surface bait fishing, although that's mostly what you do. There can be a deep bait in that spread. Don't worry about that.
There was something else that when you told me you caught a grouper that one time, I said, I caught a grouper. Again, I was ignorant. I didn't, in my mind, kite fishing was relatively on the top of the water. I mean, maybe 10, 15 feet below the water, but relatively near the top of the water. And then you're telling me you caught a grouper. I'm going, wait a minute, man. Something. So I'm learning. And this is why I love doing the show. One of the reasons I love doing the show is I have people like you come on who are willing, to share their experience. When you have when you're trying to do something new and you have somebody who's very experienced at it, the learning curve can be cut so drastically because they've already made all the mistakes. They've already had the experience of whatever it is that you're going to run into, and they can help you avoid the pitfalls, that kind of thing. And this is what I find with Mike, and I greatly appreciate people like you, Mike. Unabashed. He's not ashamed to tell you, I'll share my experience with you. And I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it just for the betterment of everybody. That's awesome. I like that.
Well, thanks.
I
appreciate
and the
that.
thing is, it's a thing. Flying kites makes people anxious, including myself. And I tell the story before. I mean, the first time I deployed a kite, I wrapped it around an outrigger around a 33-foot hydrofoil. So it didn't make me look really cool. So, and then it proceeded from there into the water.
We've all done it. We've all done it, and that's part of I always say I haven't learned anything unless I made a mistake. That's really mistakes are what I learned from. So that's how you do it. Drop them in the water, then you got to figure out how to rinse them and dry them really quickly to get them back up. And then sometimes, as I said, time is money. You better have some extra kites on the boat because it takes time to clean and dry a kite. So let's have a backup or 2 or 3. You never know. You might need them all.
Yep.
Well, I'm just imagining you, Carolyn. Hey, I got this. Watch this. There it goes. Off into the outrigger.
Let me tell you what, the closer they get to the end of being wrapped up, the faster they spin around the outrigger.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, Mike, thank you so very much for what you do. Greatly appreciate it. It really is an honor to have you on as a regular from time to time. I want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving that's coming up. I hope you get to spend some time with your family, because for me, it's all about family. That's the reason, one of the main reasons I do this show, is to give people an opportunity to do something together as a family, and that something is fishing. And then I have people like you who are open and very gracious with their time and share what they have. So a great big thank you to you, my friend. Let me let Carolyn say goodbye to you, and we're going to sign off.
Absolutely. My best, Mike. And when you go fishing on a real Cap, let me know.
All right. Thank you. And happy Thanksgiving to both you and everybody out there. I appreciate you guys, and thanks.
God bless you, my friend. Be well.
Appreciate it.
All righty. Carolyn, Turkey Day's coming up. Are you planning on doing some turkey?
I think I'm going to cook at home and keep the group small, maybe just myself and Chris, and see how that goes. And, just be safe. It's still got to, be healthy and safe out there. How about you?
Yeah, I thought right along the same line. I don't, I have a lot of kids, but what's happened over the last year or so is they've kind of spread out more, so I don't have that many around. But there was a time it would not be unusual to see my house loaded up with about 20 to maybe 30 people, because with the 7 kids, and then now they're married, so that's 14, and they got children. That's exponential. So it would be a whole bunch of people, but this year's going to be very small. It's going to be just a few of us getting together, because again, they're spread out, and the ability to travel and to go and come as freely as we used to before all this COVID stuff started isn't quite as it used to be. So hopefully one day we'll get back to that, and we'll be able to not be so concerned about everybody being sick all the time. It seems to be like that's the headline all the time. More cases, more cases, more cases.
Well, I'll tell you, if it gets flat or near flat, we're definitely dropping the boat in the water and see if we can go find some fish. So I'll keep you abreast.
There you go. That's what I want to hear. All right, my dear. God bless you. Wish you an awesome day. Thank you, Carolyn, for being co-host this morning.
Couldn't miss it. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
So long, my dear. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Enjoy.
Grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until